Hey, what is going on, everyone? In today's video, I'll be showing you everything that you need to know about animal taming. Now, animal taming is a new feature that was recently brought to the game, and although it's definitely not perfect, and I'll show you some of those imperfections, I do want to share some tips and tricks that I've learned while playing. Also, I will be providing some suggestions towards the end of the video on how I think they can improve the animal taming system, so I'd love to hear your ideas on that in the comments down below. Also, I want to give a shout out to my video research team that helps provide ideas for videos and verify information. You can check out their channels in the description down below if you would like to support them. And of course, if you do enjoy today's video, be sure to hit the like button to help support the channel. But without further ado, let's get into it. So first off, you're going to want to just unlock animal taming. So the way that you can actually do that is just through your memetics. So head to your memetic screen, go to the logistics tab, and then you'll see two new nodes on the right side. You have animal capture and animal taming. Animal capture will unlock the whistle as well as the tranquilizer throwing needle. We'll talk about both of these shortly. And then animal taming will unlock the animal trough that you use to feed your animal, as well as different feed bags that you can use, and we'll talk about all this shortly. So the first thing that you're going to want to do after unlocking animal taming is build an area for your animals. Now, this is where some of those imperfections come into place, because animals right now are just very glitchy in the game. Regardless of really how you build your animal kind of fencing or walls, whatever it might be, that containment area for your animals, it seems like they like to just glitch out of things right now. So I think the best solution is just to wait until the developers fix it. But if you do know of a foolproof way to kind of build your animal farm so that animals don't get out, please let me know in the comments down below. I've tried a lot of different methods and none of them have been 100% foolproof, but I will show you what I have set up here for myself. So this is what I have set up here, and I know this kind of looks a little bit odd, but basically what I have done here is I've alternating different foundations. So I'm just basically alternating them to create these little sort of areas that I can place animals in. So you can see I have one animal per kind of section here with the animal trough with the food that they like, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And then I also have a separate area here for the more aggressive animals like a bear, and then I have a wolf here as well. And what I have found with these in particular is that building them separate from these other animals means that they will not actually attack those other animals and kill them. So keeping your aggressive animals separate is definitely important. And then even keeping the aggressive animals separate from each other is important because they will attack each other as well. So giving them a little bit more space here seems to be working pretty well. And then I also do have them built on water here. And this has actually been pretty solid so far. I have not had an animal escape this area yet because I built it on water. So I'm not sure if there's a correlation there, but just as an FYI, it might be a good idea to build your animal kind of containment area in in a little bit of water. It seems like for whatever reason that kind of helps. And you can see I've walled in both of my containment areas here, as well as put a door on that. Now, the reason for that is because other players can actually kill your tamed animals. So if you actually contain them with walls and ceilings and then put a door there, as long as that player doesn't have like build permissions or access permissions, they shouldn't be able to access your tamed animals and kill them. So I recommend kind of containing them just so that you don't have that, that just terrible player that just comes along and just kills your tamed animals for no reason. Also, in addition to other players being able to kill your animals, the turrets that you have and the nutcracker deviation can also kill your animals. So I would recommend withdrawing the nutcracker and then having the turrets at least far enough away where they're not going to be shooting these animals. And also, I believe containing them in these walls here will also make it so the turrets don't shoot. But as we know, things can be a little bit glitchy with these new updates. So I would just recommend just having those turrets a good distance away, similar to how I have this turret over here. Also, if you do have the lethal rabbit deviation that goes and collects meat and hide for you, you don't have to worry about this actually killing your animals that you've tamed, because this deviation doesn't actually go and kill things. It basically just kind of spawns in an animal and it starts kind of, like harvesting it, so you don't have to worry about these actually going and killing things. This works very similarly to the Digby Boy, where they basically, it spawns in whatever it's trying to collect, and then it just collects it. And also, just related to building the area, I would recommend at least having kind of 6 pens for your animals, because you can only have 6 animals per territory. So I recommend, just building 6 so that if you want to have up to 6 animals, you can. All right, so now let's talk about going and actually capturing animals. So there's 2 things that you're going to need for this. You're going to need a lower tier weapon so that you actually don't go ahead and kill the animal, because you need to get the animal's health pretty low. Now, when you go ahead and look at animals out in the wild, you'll see that there is a new kind of little white bar on their health bar, and you have to get the health beneath that point in order to actually go ahead and capture the animal. So what I have done here is, in my gear, I just have this tier 3 recurve bow. I've only got it calibrated, up to +2. This is just a dropped weapon I had. I recommend just using a lower tier kind of weapon, whatever weapon that might be, just anything that isn't going to go ahead and just fully kill the animal. Normally I use a maxed out boom boom, so I definitely can't use that because that'll just kill animals too quickly. So I recommend doing this, or even just having a sniper. Like this sniper that I have right here is great for the higher tiered animals like bears that are like in the level 30s. So I don't really, kill them in one shot. So I would just recommend getting a lower tier weapon like a bow. I think a bow is perfect as well, because you can also get the ammo back, so you're not wasting any ammo by going out and capturing animals. And after you get the health low enough, you're going to want to use a tranquilizer needle. So you can actually get that from the intermediate and advanced supplies workbench. If you just go to the workbench, and you can just search for it right here, and you will see the tranquilizer throwing needle. This will make 1 needle per kind of number here, so it's 1-to-1 what you're making. This isn't going to be like ammo where you're able to craft a bunch of them at once. So I would recommend maybe making like 10 to 15 of them. That's what I started out with, because it does use Stardust Source. It doesn't use a lot of it, but I didn't want to use a ton of Stardust Source on tranquilizer throwing needles. And also, I'm not 100% sure if you're supposed to get these needles back like you can with arrows. It's kind of been 50-50 for me, where like sometimes I will throw a tranquilizer needle at an animal, and I'll go and collect the animal, and then I'll get the needle back. But then half the time I'm not getting the needle back. So I'm not 100% sure what is intended with the game, but just as an FYI, that's what I've experienced. So you've got your lower tier weapon, you've got your tranquilizer needles, now it's time to go capture some animals. So here is a handy map that the Redditor Boo Sadly shared on Reddit, and it is showing all the tameable animals that are currently in the game. The only tameable animals that we have so far are deer, wolves, sheep or goats, whatever you want to call them, boars, bears, rabbits, and crocodiles. Now, just as an FYI, the corrupted variants of some of those animals, like I know there's corrupted wolves out there, corrupted bears, those cannot be tamed currently, only the regular versions of those animals. And then only certain types of crocodile can be tamed. So if you find like an eclipse crocodile, for example, that cannot be tamed. I actually had a lot of trouble finding a crocodile to be tamed, but there are some coordinates down in the description below, as well as that map for tameable animals. So feel free to go check that out. Some people have found crocodiles at those coordinates in the description, so feel free to check it out and try it for yourself. So go out there, use a lower tier weapon, shoot some of the animals, get that health as low as it needs to be, and then take out your tranquilizer needles and throw them at the animal. Once you throw them at the animal, you'll see that they fall over. There'll be a message that appears at the top of the screen saying that they've been sedated. And then all you do is just walk up to the animal and then hit F, and it will add it directly to your backpack in the tools section. Now that you've captured an animal, head back to your base and go to one of your pens, and I would recommend building the animal trough first. So go ahead into your build menu here, and then head over to the facilities, function facility, and you'll see animal trough right here. This is what you're gonna place the feed bags, the food, and the water in as well. You can place water and food on the ground too, but I just find it a lot easier to just place it directly into the animal trough. So once you place the animal trough down, you can go ahead and then place the animal. So the way that you do that is go into your backpack under tools, find the animal here, and then just hit F, and then you can and place the animal down wherever you would like to. I recommend placing animals of the same type together, even if they're both passive animals like a rabbit and a deer. They also have slightly different diets, so I would recommend just placing the same animals together if you would like to. You can also separate them, but you'd also have to build another animal trough for that, so I just kind of place the same animals together. So after you place an animal down, you can go ahead and interact with it here, and you'll see a few different things. First off, you can change the name of the animal if you would like to at the top here, and then you'll see some information about that specific animal. So the buck provides deer meat and hides. It has a diet of grains, fodder, fruits, and vegetables, and it also has favorite foods of wheat and corn. And then you also have some stats here. You have your tameness level, you have your HP, energy, and hydration for the animal, and then there's also a rating section. So this rating section basically will show different types of traits based on the level of tameness. So you can see that there is a trait right here that will unlock once tameness hits level 20 for this animal. I don't have it up that high yet because I just placed this animal down, and the number of traits that will be shown here is based on the grade of the animal. So this is a grade C, so we only have one trait here, but if I head over to a grade S animal that I have, which is at 32% tameness right now, you can see that we have 4 different traits here, and I've already unlocked one because this one unlocked at, I believe, 20% tameness, and you can see it says reduces energy and hydration loss rate by 20%. Now, in order to increase the tameness of an animal, you can see that it says right here that maintaining energy and hydration above 30 will gradually increase the tameness. So what you need to do is place some of its favorite foods and just some stuff from its diet into the animal trough, as well as water, so that the energy and hydration can stay above 30%, and then you can gradually build up the tameness level. And then also related to the tameness stat here, you can see that between 50 and 80%, or basically above 50%, animals can also produce supplies. So for example, the deer can provide deer milk at that stage, so you're able to collect deer milk from the animal, but you can also get supplies by actually slaughtering the animal as well. So by unlocking the different traits that you have here, you'll be able to get different things when you actually go ahead and slaughter the animal. So you can see there's an option here next to details to slaughter that animal. So some things that you can get, for example, are premium meat, acid flesh, and you can also get like extra hide, things like that. So it really depends on like the types of traits that that animal has, but just as an FYI, you can also kind of get things from animals without slaughtering them, such as deer milk, once they get enough tameness. And also related to the rating, so this isn't something that is available right now, but there will be adding a breeding system into the game, and according to how high the animal's rating is, it will have more breeding attempts based on that rating. And of course, you can also recall it back to your backpack, so if you do this, it just gets added directly back to your backpack. So when it comes to feeding these passive animals here, it's just super easy to just walk up to the animal trough and just fill it up with whatever you need to. But when it comes to actually feeding these aggressive animals over here, like I have the bear and the wolf, if you actually hop in there, they will start to attack you. Once they reach a tameness of 20% or higher, I believe, you're able to put them in a standby mode so they won't actually attack you. But before that, which these two currently right now are before that, and you can even see I've got some animals glitching through those foundations right there. An easy way to fill up the animal trough for these aggressive animals is to just go into build mode, head into flight mode here, and then just pick up the animal trough and place it right next to your character, and then you can interact with it safely. You can place all the favorite foods and water or whatever it might be into the animal trough itself, and then you can go ahead back into build mode, go into flight mode here, pick up the animal trough, and just place it back in the pen for that aggressive animal. In addition to just dropping the actual food items into the animal trough, you can also go ahead and make some feed bags at your electric stove or kitchen set. So if I interact with this right here and I just search for the word feed, these all unlock with the animal taming nodes that we unlocked earlier. So you have a meat pellet feed, you have grain concentrate, herbal green feed, and a body boost feed. So these three right here, the meat, grain, and herbal green feed, is really specific to like the diet of the animal that you're trying to feed. So obviously the meat one is going to be for animals that like meat. The grain one will be for ones that like grain, and then the herbal one will be for ones that like herbs. And then lastly, this body boost one right here, as you can see, it says this is a feed used to enhance an animal's physical functions and raise all of its attributes to level 50. So this one is more expensive because it requires 6 deviated saffron and 6 deviated morals, as well as some stardust source too. So these other ones are definitely a lot cheaper. The meat one just requires different types of meat. The grain one requires sage and honeysuckle, and although I do find it weird that corn is not an option here as well, I kind of associate corn with grain too, but what do I know? And then the herbal one is obviously different types of herbs that you can place in there as well. And also another big benefit of using these feed bags is that they don't spoil as quickly as regular food. So if you're placing regular food into those animal troughs, you'll probably notice that food spoils pretty quickly. I've taken a good amount of spoiled food out of those animal troughs. So by building these feed bags here and crafting these feed bags, these will actually last 6 days versus, the quick kind of turnaround time that you have for a lot of the different food items. And also, just another quick tip is if you don't want to go up to your aggressive animals and check their status, you can go to any of your kind of passive animals here. And on the right side, you can just click between all the different animals here and see all their stats and see their status. So that way you don't need to go over to the bear or the wolf and risk being hurt just because you want to check their stats. Also, another quick tip is you can actually go ahead and store animals in chests. So as you go and collect animals out in the world, you'll notice they have different weights. So a bear is going to be a lot heavier than a rabbit, for example. So if I went and recalled this deer right here, I can just put that from my backpack directly into a chest if I would like to, and then that way I get that weight right off my character. And also, players have reported that when actually moving your entire territory, the animals are not coming with you. So if you are planning to move your territory, I recommend withdrawing all of your animals, putting them in your backpack, putting them in a chest somewhere, and then moving your territory and then placing them down again. And the other item we have not talked about yet is the whistle. So if you go to your intermediate or advanced supplies workbench, you can craft a whistle here, and you can see that it says blow the whistle to summon high tameness domesticated animals to your side. So from our testing in the Discord, it seems like 50% or higher tameness will allow you to actually call an animal with the whistle, but you have to put the animal in alert mode first by pressing G on the animal. Now I currently don't have any animals that are that high tameness yet because tameness levels do take a bit to get up there, but we have tested this, like I said, in the Discord, and from what we've seen, the animal needs to be within eyesight of you, so it doesn't actually teleport the animal to your side, and it seems like this only works within your territory. So if you're doing like territory purifications, it might be useful to like whistle over a bear or a wolf to help you fight, but it doesn't seem like you're actually able to whistle them outside of your territory. And honestly, this whistle feature just doesn't seem really fully fleshed out. I don't really see a huge benefit of using the whistle, and as you can see, none of the animals are coming over to me because they are not high enough tameness yet. But yeah, to use the whistle, you basically should have 50% or higher tameness, put the animal in alert mode by pressing G on the animal, and then being kind of within eyesight of the animal so the animal can kind of run over to you since it doesn't teleport to you. So those are all the tips that I had for setting up your animal taming area. If you guys have any other tips or any other experiences that you've had, definitely leave a comment down below. I'd love to see that. And then getting into some suggestions on how I think they can make this animal taming system even better. Obviously, the first thing here is fixing those boundary issues, having those animals stay within the area that you actually confine them to, maybe even having specific building items that are for animals rather than using the normal items that we use for our base, maybe having specific fences that are used for animals or specific walls, things like that, where the animal can stay within that kind of bounds there. Also, I definitely think they should make it so that deviations, turrets, and other players can't kill your tamed animals, regardless of their taming percentage. Even if it's a 1% tamed animal, I don't think that anything should be able to kill it because you've already captured it and you're working on taming it. And I've seen a lot of frustrated players, that log in the next day and they realize some of their animals have died. So I definitely recommend that the developers make it so that deviations, turrets, and other players just can't harm your animals. And then my last suggestion has to do with the animal trough here. I think you should be able to pipe water into this trough. You're not able to connect a pipe to this. That was like one of the first things that I tried. So just having kind of an automated system that allows you to just pipe water directly into the trough would be great. The animals will actually drink directly from water that is on the map. So if you do build your kind of animal pen right near the water here, they will drink from that. But I know most people are going to be using these animal troughs because they're meant, to also hold food as well. So I think piping water directly into these would be a great addition. How would you improve the animal taming system? I think them adding the breeding system next makes a lot of sense because, I just think if people are going to be kind of slaughtering their animals in order to get certain resources, having a breeding system will just make that a little bit less tedious so that you don't always have to go out and find new animals that you just need to fully tame and then go ahead and slaughter. So I think a breeding system makes sense. But what other suggestions do you have on how to make this animal taming system that we currently have in the game even better? And thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate all the support. If you are interested in joining our community, I definitely recommend joining the Discord channel. We've got an awesome group of players in there that always help out new players, help answer questions. So I've linked that Discord in the description down below if you would like to join. And of course, if you did enjoy the video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to help support the channel. But thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.